5-2, man. What can I say? I had to take about 10, 15 minutes to settle down because, gosh, I was hysterical. I was really calling for the whole team to be sold. But what an embarrassing performance that we just saw. But it's the first team that actually attacks us and wants to control the match. And we absolutely get exposed. I said it beforehand. I really did think that the games that we had seen, Real Sociedad, Mallorca, all of these games were pointless because they were not teams that were going to attack us. They were not teams that were gonna. There's a lot of hype. Oh, Real Madrid had not lost any single game, but the reality is that we looked shaky in each one of those games. At one point or another, we looked shaky. Um, the Marseille game, that was probably the closest thing to a close match that we could have had, and we saw that game too, where we were close to drawing. And yeah, we had a great first 45 minutes, but we were exposed in the air. We saw that we were getting exposed in the air. And now we fast forward a week or a week and a half in advance, and we play Atletico Madrid. And look what happens. We get exposed once again in the air. Let's go ahead through the issues that I noticed from Real Madrid. As I said, defensively by the air, we're horrendous, really bad. And although Militao and Dean Huijsen, I'd say pretty good when it comes to the ball on the ground. And that would be a great point of contention to be like, well, we were good defensively on the ground. Our fullbacks were horrendous too. Carvajal, he was just taking everything. A little feint would go through, and Carvajal would absolutely eat it up. And Alvaro Carreras, gosh, he is bad just bad at every single point. He was not even keeping pace with whoever was. I think it was Juliano. He wasn't even keeping pace with whoever was on that right wing side for Atletico Madrid. He would not even be able to intercept the ball. He wouldn't be able to put his body on the line. He was actually horrendously bad. He couldn't keep composure on the ball. But you know what? He's young, and hopefully he's able to grow from this. But horrendous game by both of our fullbacks. Now let's move on to the midfield. And Valverde, although he's our most consistent player, he played horrendously bad. Of course he did. Then Tchouaméni, I think he also played really bad as well. He's a big ass motherfucker, and he really couldn't body anybody. Julian Alvarez, he couldn't body anybody in general. Are you kidding me? And he was just getting ran through like if it was nobody. It was basically nobody in the midfield, but sometimes Valverde or Bellingham. It was that midfield. There was no midfield there at all. Now let's move on to Arda Güler, who I think was our best midfielder, at least in offense. And yeah, he did cause a penalty, but it's ironic because he caused a penalty, but he was like the only guy who was able to win a fucking ball in the air inside of the box. Because as I said, every single ball that came into a cross, it was always dangerous. It was bound to be either connected or it would just go wide because none of our players would be able to get a touch on it. So he was the only one to get a touch on it. Um, Sadly, they ended up calling it a penalty because he cleats him in the head or something like that. And it's 3-2, right? And but other than that, offensively, he was incredible. That chemistry that he has with Mbappe is out of this world, really out of this world. And he was able to score his goal and give an assist, and he still got subbed off. I don't know what Xabi Alonso was thinking to sub him off. He was our most threatening player and decided to sub him off in favor of keeping in Bellingham, who we're going to get into right now. Who I really think he played a dreadful game. Really bad game. And to be fair, he played 2 minutes against Osasuna. He played 60 minutes against Levante. These guys aren't Atletico Madrid. To be put straight into the starting 11 to play 60 minutes up against Atletico Madrid is stupid by Xabi Alonso. What in the world was he thinking? Bellingham played absolutely bad. He was not in the game at all. And as I said, can you blame him? He was out for 2 months and he's playing against Atletico Madrid. Are you kidding me? It was he was just not in the game at all. And instead, I think Mastantuono should have come in for him, but we end up keeping him for 10 more minutes and taking out Arda Güler. That was so stupid from Xabi Alonso, and it was something I was hoping that we would lose from from Ancelotti leaving, putting the name over the player and over the current form of the player to benefit the team as an overall. But no, it's Jude Bellingham. To me, he's the best midfielder in the world, but he's clearly not in form or in shape or in any capability to be starting against Atletico Madrid. He would have been a great player in like the 60th, 70th minute to come and try to either hold a lead or find a goal. But I mean, you saw him. He was knackered by the second half. He really couldn't do much more in that second half. So I really do think that was her major mistake, and that's the major reason as to why we just got clapped up. Because let's not forget that we were up because offensively, as I said, Arda Güler was incredible. Same with Mbappe and Vini. Honestly, there's not much I can say about them. They were out of this world great. But having Jude Bellingham was literally a hindrance to Valverde, who had to cover for Bellingham, to Tchouaméni, who honestly, Tchouaméni just played really bad. But it comes down to Xabi Alonso really messed up, man. And to know that we had Atletico Madrid in our hands at one point, even with Alvaro Carreras and Carvajal being absolute idiots, it truly infuriates me that we had Bellingham starting over somebody like Mastantuono, who could have offered us so much more in regards to pressing. But the game ends 5-2. Embarrassing performance by damn near every single one in the team, apart from Arda Güler and Courtois and Vini with Mbappe. But enough about Real Madrid. Let's tip our hats to this Atletico Madrid. We had last season we saw a kind of different version of Atletico Madrid, team that would actually go out and attack you. We saw that against Barcelona. We saw that against us ourselves. And this year they seem to be improving. In my preview, I said that I thought they were pretty mediocre because they were gonna stick with this manager through his change in tactical vision because they are starting to he's trying to change tactical vision, which is why they've been losing and tying a lot of games, change the playing style of the team. And I thought it was gonna take a long while, but I mean they just destroyed us. They put up a great game against Liverpool. So they seem to be on course to like really being able to develop a different playing style under Cholo Simeone. And if they're able to do that, they're gonna be a really tough competitor for the rest of the league and for next years to come. Julian Alvarez, let's just point on that. Out of this world, man. Out of this world. The fact that this guy was basically seen as the focal point of Atletico Madrid without having any backups for some portion of the last year. I think Cholo Simeone sees the talent in this guy, and it's like I can't play the way that I'm playing, and really utilize this guy to his full potential. So my hats off to Julian Alvarez, Sorloth. That guy always destroys us. He's always a headache to play, and I still remember the 4 goals he scored on us with Villarreal. And overall, that team showed us what pressing was like.